Well, welcome to this edition of the Morning Call this lovely Friday. Normalcy could return to Libya as conflicting factions have agreed to implement a roadmap deal laid out by neighboring Egypt. In the meantime, Field Marshal Khalifa Haftar, leader of the Eastern Forces of Operation Dignity, an operation appointed by the Tobruk-based House of Representatives, refused to meet the government of National Accord Prime Minister Fayez al-Sarraj yesterday. Haftar, who controls much of eastern Libya, did not give a reason after months of diplomatic efforts by Egypt to bring the two together in ending the Libyan crisis. Now, while the Egypt brokered deal poses to heal divisions with the creation of a joint committee to negotiate reconciliation and elections by February 2018, some political stability and control in Libya will be a big plus to the European Union countries, fearing of an influx of migrants smuggled into Europe via the Mediterranean in Libya.
The strong man in the east of the country and receiving support from Egypt, Khalifa Haftar, also supported by parliament, was elected in Tobruk, a hostile parliament just like him, to the executive of Fayez al-Sarraj, following an agreement signed under the auspices of the United Nations at the end of 2015. That agreement provided no role for Khalifa Haftar, whose forces control a large part of eastern Libya. But the Field Marshal has emerged as a major representative after taking the main tanker terminals in the east. The government of national unity on its part has still been unable to assert its authority in this country, torn apart by power struggles since it assumed office in March 2016. To try to better understand the implications of the Egypt agreement in resolving the Libyan crisis, we speak to Monsef Jaziri, a political analyst and specialist on the crisis in Libya. He joins us now from Lausanne in Switzerland. What are the necessary reforms to make this agreement applicable?
Oui, moyennant des modifications importantes, si vous voulez.
Yes, by finding a way with important changes pertaining to 2 or 3 points. The first point concerns the restructuring of the executive currently in place and the reduction of the number of people in the Presidential Council. This Presidential Council, which is an interim executive, is plethoric, and so people from the East consider that it must be reduced and its skills redefined. The second point, which is a very important one, is to know who should control the commander-in-chief of the Libyan army. And from this point of view, there are divergent views. In the political agreement, it is the executive in Tripoli, supported by the international community. For people from the east, it is the parliament of Tobruk, which must be in charge of the area. There are substantive differences, and the request of the leaders from the east is to amend the agreement to go in the direction of a supremacy of the parliament in Tobruk on the Tripoli government on this issue of commander-in-chief. And the third point that is important is to know what should be the exact role of the High Council of State, which is the second chamber or the second parliament, which was created by the political agreement.
Du Haut Conseil d'État, qui est donc cette deuxième chambre ou ce deuxième parlement qui a été créé par l'accord politique.
And there are quite some differences on this agreement. Do you think the government of national unity or General Haftar can try to soften their stance for the good of all Libyans?
Les désaccords sont si importants et si profonds qu'à mon avis, les chances de réussite sont réduites.
Disagreements The agreements are important and very profound that, in my opinion, the chances of success are low, because it should be noted that the political agreement is devoted to a situation and to the organization of authorities in Tripoli in particular that gives importance to Islamists in the government, and which also gives importance to the representatives of Misrata in the government and in the government structures as they have been set out in the agreement. Apart from the changes requested by the people from the East is the questioning of this presence of Islamists and its fraternity in the authorities in Tripoli, and so it's going to be complicated to make these reforms.
ça va être compliqué pour faire justement aboutir ces réformes.
A last question, and what is the position of some Western powers like Russia and the United States, for example, on the many actors involved in this Libyan crisis?
La position des dirigeants américains.
The position of American leaders was to unconditionally support the political agreement, according to the 2015 version, and to unconditionally support the government of Sarraj or represent the Islamists. After the accession to power of Donald Trump, things have changed substantially. The support of the agreement has been very much weakened. Americans are saying today that General Haftar is part of the solution in Libya, while previously he was considered a problem. Trump is no longer talking about a democratic transition in Libya. Americans are ready to accept a strong authority in Libya, to see an authoritarian who secures energy resources and stabilizes the country. Russia is currently playing a very important role in the political, diplomatic, and military support to General Haftar. Russia also supports Arab countries which are seeking to develop a solution to the crisis in Libya. They are supporting the efforts provided by Egypt, Algeria, United Arab Emirates. More broadly, Russia wants to assure of its presence and influence in Libya and in Africa in general. It wants to somehow be the balance of influence of some of the Arab countries like Qatar, for example, as well as the influence of Turkey. It also wants to be a power of support to forces fighting Islamism in its different forms. And from this point of view, Trump's doctrine seems to be facilitating their task.
De ce point de vue, la doctrine Trump semble leur faciliter la tâche.